Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name's Benson. What's yours? Welcome back to a Fatman Reviews Walt Disney World. We haven't done one of these in a very long time, mainly because I've ridden almost everything. Literally now, the only two rides I have left that I haven't ridden are Aladdin's Magic Carpet Ride and Flight of Passage. I've ridden everything else that's active right now at Walt Disney World. I've done all the shows, I've seen all the seating, I've sat, I've watched, I've viewed, I've played, I've done it all. And now officially I have done Astro Orbiter and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. I'm gonna start with Astro Orbiter. Space ride, rocket ship, circles. Basically, Astro Orbiter is a upgraded Dumbo ride, and the only reason I say upgrade is because you're definitely going faster than Dumbo. Now, with Dumbo, as you go up, it's more of an even up and down. With the Astro Orbiter, as you go up, your spaceship starts to tilt a little. And when Astro Orbiter comes in for a landing, it's going so fast that you're literally pulled to the outside of the space shuttle that you're in. But other than that, it's an absolutely fun ride. I will say though, if you have vertigo problems, or you become disoriented easily, maybe not the ride for you. Because honestly, it's going so fast that it's almost like you're standing and just spinning in a great big circle and making yourself dizzy. And because of that, like even I got off it and I was like, whoo, that was I'm a little wobbly now. But it was so much fun. I really enjoyed it, and I've seen people do it during the fireworks, and I can only imagine how amazing that is to do. So, Astro Orbiter, I'm 6'2" and currently 370 pounds, and I can ride Astro Orbiter. The seatbelt was not a problem to buckle. I am going to say this though. If I had tried to ride this at my heaviest weight, which is like 535, or honestly, I think at 400 I'd have had an issue too. And the reason I say that is basically you get in and the rocket ships are kind of narrow. So even for me, getting into it was a little tricky and I kind of had to slouch to get in a little bit. But the sides of the thing really kind of hit me in the sides. So like right here, they push in. I'll try and include a little snippet of the video from when I did the ride, kind of showing you what it looked like. But it did kind of dig into my rib cage and my upper torso a little bit. So I'd say honestly, anything heavier than 375, 380, and you might tend to get into a problem with this ride just because the edges kind of cut into you. And that also creates an issue getting out of the ride. I will say this, it's kind of weird when you're standing up in the rocket, it bounces a lot. I don't know why, but I think Dumbo does too because they're that free hanging on an arm. So getting out of it was a little weird too because the whole time you're trying to stand up and get out, the rocket ship is doing this the entire time. So I will say, height-wise, I don't think anybody would have a problem with Astro Orbiter, and I think even a smaller person than me, thin-wise, could even ride with their kids and not have a single problem. But if you're a little bit broader in the tummy or a little bit broader in the top torso here, the chest area, forgot what that was for a second, then I would say you might have an issue with this ride. But if you can do it, I recommend it. It was such a fun ride. It's really over kind of quickly, and for good reason, because honestly, I think you'd probably vomit if you went that fast in that such a small circle for very much longer. But overall, still a good ride. And if you know, like I said, if you're a little bit on the heavier side than 375, you could have an issue with Astro Orbiter, especially if you're, honestly, if you've got big hips too. My hips weren't an issue because my torso is a little bit wider than my hips. So I think if my torso and my hips were the same width, I wouldn't have had an issue at all. But I think if you have like bigger hips, you're probably gonna have an issue getting into the rocket. So just keep that in mind. It's a fun ride, not really worth more than maybe a 30-minute wait. But 6'2", I think if you were 6'4", 6'7", you could probably do this ride without any issue. Maybe any taller than 6'5", you might have to bend your knees a little bit. But honestly, I don't even think that would be too much of an issue. So if you're like a thinner 6'7", 6'8", whatever, you probably wouldn't have any issues with this ride. But we all know 6'7", you're still going to be topping out about 200 pounds, 250, just the way your body type runs. But I don't think even that weight you'd really have a problem riding this ride. So that's my review for Astro Orbiter. Away! So the kids were really happy because we finally did get fast passes to ride Mine Train, because I had attempted to ride Mine Train once in the past and I couldn't ride it. They tried to sit me next to Kristen and there was just no way we could ride it together because I was really heavy back then, heavier than I am now, and then she was a little bit heavier than she is now. Post-surgery, I still don't think we could ride this ride side by side, so I ended up riding this ride, I believe, with Allie next to me. But I'm honestly, guys, it's gonna pain me to say this. This ride is terrible. We rode it at night. It was cool as far as like the sights and stuff. But this ride is way too short. This ride isn't, there's no way this ride is worth more than a 30 to 35 minute wait. This is like freaking Alien Swirling Saucers short. It's not a long ride at all. It's not a very thrilling coaster. It's kind of boring and bland as far as coasters go. You remember the little, you go to a state fair and there's always that little kid roller coaster that's like a worm or an alligator in a funny hat, and it's just like, ooh, so the kids don't get scared. That's Seven Dwarves Mine Train. Now the technology where the boats kind of rock back and forth is really cool, but it was boring. It wasn't a good ride at all. The animatronics later on, like when you're in the mine and stuff and you go by the house, that's really cool. The sights and stuff are awesome, but the coaster itself is boring. Themed great, boring ride. Now, if you are a bigger person, avoid this ride. Don't waste your fast passes, and this is why. My hip hurt the entire time. Now keep in mind, I'm 6'2", and I'm about 370 pounds, like I've said previously. The way the bar is set up, imagine you're riding Everest, but they took the Everest bar and they slammed it inward another 3 inches on either side, or even another 6 inches on either side, so that basically my thighs were pressed together so tightly that it was pulling on my hip, and the only relief I got was at the one high incline where it's going up. I kind of slid back and that pulled a little bit of the pressure off my hips because the bar kind of slid down further down my legs, so I could kind of like relax a little. But to be honest with you, if you're a bigger person, if you've got long legs or thick thighs, I would say this ride's not worth riding. It's honestly a giant waste of your time. It's not fun. Like I'd rather go wait in line for Space Mountain for an hour and then wait in line for Space Mountain another hour and enjoy that ride twice than I would want to stand in line for Mine Train for 80 minutes or more, which is usually what it is, higher than 80 minutes. It's just not worth it. I would say, as a fat man, avoid Mine Train. If you're a fat guy, if you're a heavy lady, if you're tall with thick thighs, this ride's just not worth it. You're probably not going to enjoy it all that much. It's really kind of a boring ride. So I'm going to get hate for that because I know a lot of people love this ride. Even my kids were like, that was boring and thank God we've done it and now we know we don't ever need to ride it again. Both of them, neither one of them actually liked that ride. It just wasn't as exciting as it could have been for it to be a coaster or a fast-paced mine coaster. You know what I'm saying? It's just my opinion. If you don't believe me and you want to do the wait or you want to get the fast pass and ride it, go for it. If you've ridden it and you've had the same issues as I have with your hips and stuff, let me know in the comments below. I love Disney and I love all the rides and they're all usually bigger people friendly, but this ride is just one of those where they really made a mistake in shortening or thinning out the U shape of the restraint bar. Just my opinion, ladies and gentlemen. You can hate me in the comments below if you need to. That's what they're there for you to express your opinions. But hope you guys enjoyed this little Fatman reviews. There's really nothing else left except for Flight of Passage. I'm looking into ways to go to other theme parks, wink wink, so that I can review some stuff there for you guys. And I'd like to do it, I'm slowly losing weight, but I'd like to do it before I'm too thin to call these the Fat Man reviews, okay? I don't want to be the mildly fat man or the slightly thinner fat man. Oh, I guess I am the slightly thinner fat man now if you think about it, because, I've lost the weight. So what would I call it? The slightly fat man? The partially fat man? I'm gonna have to come up with a new review name for these videos if I'm gonna do them. The tall, slightly fat man review? I don't know. I have to figure that out now. Ugh, a whole new dilemma. Not really a dilemma. You know what I'm saying. You get it. You get where I'm coming from. You know what I'm preaching, what I'm cooking, what I got going in my brain. So hopefully you'll see some other videos where a fat man reviews some rides at some other theme parks. We'll see. That's my hope. We're gonna, you know, whatever. I've rambled enough, ladies and gentlemen. We've reviewed Astro Orbiter. We've reviewed the Mine Train. You know my opinion. You know if I think you're safe enough to go take the attempted wait in line for these rides. I leave it up to you to decide if that's what you want to do, though, ladies and gentlemen. I love you from the bottom of my heart, way down around my tummy. There's plenty of space to love you. Till tomorrow.